All right, so I've discovered before the show eating caramels not going to make me very active in chat vocally. So it doesn't really matter. This is system.debug. And then Ryan's gone. I don't know if you picked up on that right away or not, but there was no bump because Ryan is absent this evening. And so is RJ. So I guess
we got your back.
We do. And they let me and Megan just run the show. So I'm sorry in advance.
We apologize.
So this episode, right? This was actually Megan's brainchild here. She had said, we should probably talk about networking and events and how as a developer do you get the chance to get out there, right? Megan wrote all these beautiful notes too. You can't see them, but I can.
Yes.
So that's actually going to help significantly in guiding this episode. So Megan, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I would love to. So first of all, the most important thing is to make sure that, when you are a developer or you're an admin, you're an architect, no matter what your role is in the community, to make sure that, in addition to being there doing your everyday job, to make sure that you're out there and getting to know the Ohana. Like one of the things that Salesforce has done really well is to create this whole connection between, people that are actually using their software system. And, their software as a service. My bad. But to make sure that we're all connecting with each other. And, that's how I get to know Brian. That's how I met Ryan. That's how I met RJ. Is all through the Ohana and actually events. We met at Forcelandia. Yeah? Okay. But yeah, so there are all these different events out there from Salesforce sponsored events like Dreamforce and Trailhead DX to community sponsored events like Forcelandia, Midwest Streaming, Texas Streaming, Force Academy LA, and then your NPS sprints, et cetera. I guess those are Salesforce.org sponsored. And then you have your local user groups as well. But to make sure that you're getting involved and getting yourself out there and connecting with people.
Now, this isn't just like talking specifically about these are more like towards the devs more than the all-encompassing, right? Yeah. And so just so I know she mentioned Forcelandia. Forcelandia is like just an amazing developer event, right? For intermediate to advanced developers, and there is some good beginner stuff, but there really aren't too many events in the Salesforce ecosystem that like more advanced developers can gain from, right? Like I would say the vast majority, even though most events, any of the Dreamin' events, they have a dev track, but they don't typically deep dive into anything that is, going to really kind of inspire, I guess you could say. I mean, some things, but it's not going to be as heavy for the advanced developers, right? And that's not to say that there aren't really good tracks at these events. It's just that Forcelandia, I think, is really good at gearing itself towards developers.
Absolutely. And they do have an admin track. Let's not forget that. But no, it's definitely geared towards developers, started for developers. And the fact that they actually have those more advanced tracks is awesome compared to some of those other events that are out there. And like Brian said, there are dev tracks at most of the events. Not to say that developers shouldn't go to these other events. They're great. They're fun things to see at all of them. They're definitely dev tracks for everybody.
Yeah, it's worth networking at all of these events.
I mean, you'll see people that are out. Brian will be at most of them. Guarantee that I'll be at a lot of them. We got a couple events a year, not gonna lie. And then we've got people like Adam Olshansky. You have who are some of the other people that are all of these?
Adam Daw is almost at like all these events. At least this year. This year, Adam Daw has like made the circuit. You're gonna run into people.
How could I forget him?
Yeah, a lot of the heavy hitters in the industry. Your MVPs, your golden jacket wearers. Those are the ones that you're they're very involved in the ecosystem. So those are the ones that you're going to see at these events, and they're all really, really nice. So the vast majority of the time, if you actually want a good opportunity to network and talk to some of these people, one, they will respond to you on Twitter. None of them feel like, you know, that they, at least none of the ones that I know are bothered, I guess you could say, by people reaching out and telling them that they're inspired by them or that they'd like help with certain things. Like, that's what's great about the Salesforce Ohana and the Salesforce community ecosystem, is it's so different, I think, than so many others, right? Like, it's super unique. Yeah. It's much more like all it takes is one hi at a convention and you can become a part of the family, right? If anybody who wants to, basically, is what I mean.
Well, I mean, like, look at some of the people that we just met over like the past like year. I mean, we met what, like 2 years ago?
You and I have known each other for a bunch of years now. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, I mean, I think 2 to 3.
2 to 3. Okay.
No, but I mean, like, it's fair. It's fair enough. Even just over the last year, though. I mean, I can't name names.
Jared started in the Ohana like last Dreamforce.
Right, and then I mean, there's so many. That's the whole thing. Is that like you're not going to necessarily be able to pick favorites, but nonetheless, that's not like necessarily.
No, I'm not picking favorites. I'm just like, all of a sudden you meet somebody and then like they become super involved in the community, and then like all of a sudden you realize that even if you just met them and they may have been going to events before, all of a sudden you'll realize that they're like all of a sudden every other event you went to. Like when I met Adam Daw, like all of a sudden I realized, oh my god, like Adam Daw is at everything. Like I had no idea that he was everywhere.
Like literally at Forcelandia last year is when I met Adam Daw.
Yeah. Oh really?
Yeah, so nonetheless, getting to these events, that's like the best way to network, right? But what are the best events for you as a developer, right? Obviously, your developer user groups, okay? Like, get involved with those as much as you can. Forcelandia, we said. Now, Trailhead X is a good Trailhead DX.
DX
is another good event, but when they say it's kind of like the mini Dreamforce, they're not joking. The very first year, it was very, you know, there's 500 people there. It was amazing. Second year was amazing. It's still going to be amazing, but it seems like it's kind of taking the whole, you know, feel and shape of Dreamforce. And I wouldn't say that it's dev-centric, even though it has the developer experience, the DX appended to it. It's not really going to be geared specifically towards developers like Forcelandia is. Would you say that's a fair statement?
I would absolutely agree. Yeah. And I feel like especially, you know, it's continued to evolve. You know, like I said, that first year was very, very dev specific. You know, the following year it was, you know, that's when they really started to add that more to that admin track, but it was still pretty dev. And then last year it was very, you know, they had a lot more to that admin track. That's when they added all the certifications beforehand. So I had that boot camp plus the Trail DX. And so it became quite the mix then, because everybody wants certifications. You know, certifications are for all. So it became quite the mix then. And not that that's a bad thing, but it's just that when you have, you know, two different groups that have very different types of sessions that they attend, you know, you need to make sure that you're going to be, you know, attending to what most people can attend, the types of sessions the majority of people can go to. However, and then you have, you know, a number of dream events that are out there. They'll have an admin track, a dev track, but Forcelandia being specifically geared towards developers. And it just happened, you guys, last week, and it was so awesome. It was like,
tell us some of the highlights of that event. Tell us what was good about it this year. I couldn't go, but that's okay.
Well, do you want to tell everybody why you couldn't go, Brian? Or?
Oh, I mean, it's no surprise. I brought an urchin into this world by the name of Cody, so that happened. But you know,
congratulations, System.Debug, baby.
8/18. Nonetheless, great time, and I feel it's one of the only acceptable reasons to not make it to Forcelandia as a developer, right? So there's that. Keep going. What are some exciting things we missed?
Awesome. Yeah. So Forcelandia was actually last week, Wednesday and Thursday in Portland. So first of all, we keep mentioning Forcelandia. Big shout out to Angela Mahoney, Larry Latimer, Evan Johnson, Leslie Guesthouse, and Simon Goodyear for putting on Forcelandia this year. Fantastic event that happens in Portland once a year in August at the Kennedy School. First of all, you missed the fabulousness that is the Kennedy School.
Okay, so just in case you don't know, I want to talk about this school real quick, okay? Because this is amazing. All right, it's the hotel. It's typically all these Dreamin' events, they happen at, or any of these Salesforce events, they typically happen at a hotel, right? And this hotel particularly, and I don't know if this is a West Coast thing or if they exist elsewhere, but I've only seen them on the West Coast. And it is an elementary school that they have purchased and renovated into a hotel, right? So like the boiler room is a bar now, and the principal's office is kind of like check-in, right?
Front desk, yeah.
Or the front desk. It's insane, but it's so amazing. So you go into your room, and if you have a room in the main building, which is the actual old schoolhouse, you might have a chalkboard in your room, and they'll leave little bits of chalk and all that kind of stuff. It's super freaking cool.
Sorry. So yeah, and this is I'd like to point out, this is a McMenamin. So there's one of them that's like 5 miles from my place. That's the Anderson School. And they're not only hotels, but they're also breweries. Let's not forget that. And you get your McMenamin's passport that for visiting each one of these, like he had mentioned, the principal's office and detention and the boiler room. There's also the cafeteria, like courtyard restaurant. And then there was the honors bar and the theater bar. And if you get the passport, you get a stamp for going to each one of these. But for every McMenamin's, there's a page in your passport. And you have to do all these different things at each one of their locations. Anyways, I have a McMenamin's passport, and I was so excited because in addition to having the event at the Kennedy School, I stayed at the Crystal Hotel, so I got like double stamps. So excited. But back to Forcelandia, now that we're done on our tangent of the hotel. Oh my God, it was so great. So first of all, it was 2 days. And again, it started off with Zane, the dev evangelist fabulousness that she is from Salesforce, doing her keynote. Sadly, I was on the bus from Seattle to Portland during this time, and I had to miss Zane. But I did get to meet up with her at lunch. And we exchanged hellos, and I hear she was awesome. And I'm so disappointed I missed it, and I hope somebody recorded it. I got to look it up online. But Brian, FYI, Zane, I hear, was awesome. So we both got to hear that word of mouth. And I also missed Adam Daw, who I arrived right at the end of his presentation. So yeah.
So now how can developers convince their jobs to, their employers? How do they make that happen so that they can go to these events?
Bring it up right away. Like, bring it up in negotiations. The most important thing, bring it up whenever you have your reviews. Bring it up at negotiation times. Absolutely. Find some sort of value that it's going to bring to your job. Point out something that's one of the sessions, that's something that you're doing every day, or that's something that your company could get value out of, or, how you guys could gain from the knowledge that you're learning, so that you can somehow justify either them paying for it or at least the time off. Some of us self-fund for all these events. That's okay. It's not the best option, but some of us have to do it. But others,
you can always, like almost all of these, by the way.
Others can get funding.
Yeah, and all of these, they usually, the earlier you buy your ticket, the cheaper that ticket is, right? So
exactly.
Dreamforce, for instance, a lot of times if you get it, you're going to want to go next year for that convention. And week of, you know, it's $2,000 or whatever to get into the convention, but and that's if there's tickets left at all. But usually the year before, you can, I think, get the ticket for what, $500?
You're frozen, so I have no idea what Brian's saying right now. Hi, welcome back.
Can you hear me now? Is that all good?
Now I can hear you.
What was the last thing you heard?
$500. That's it.
Okay, so like $500. That's like the last day of the convention. You can usually get next year's price for $500, or next year's convention for $500.
Yeah.
The last day of Dreamforce. So my point is a lot of these conventions, you know, if you know about them up and coming, you'll get a much bigger discount than waiting till the last minute to go to them.
Well, the thing is, the majority of us can get our companies to pay for some of the events. You gotta admit, like, I have a problem where I love these events. Like, when I said you might see me at some of them, by some, I mean, like, what? Maybe, like, one a month? So, like, yeah, that's a lot for any company to take on. But, you know, I can justify a number of reasons why, you know, my company could pay for, like, 1 or 2 events a year. You know, there has to be a reason. And, you know, it's going through, it's like, what can this do to benefit them? And, you know, Salesforce actually does this thing with Dreamforce where you can get, you know, what's going to be the ROI of being going to Dreamforce. You know what thing I'm talking about? It's like on the Dreamforce website, like where you can type it in, and Salesforce like does this calculation of what type of value it is to your company.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So you're one of those and be like, well, if this is what I get out of Dreamforce, like this event just costs this much, like, and these are all like a bunch of the sessions that were at Dreamforce.
Well, and Dreamforce is one of those places that you can actually get your certifications at ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And certifications are super cheap at Dreamforce too. They're like $99 versus $200, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's okay. So for like a lot of companies, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you're in the vendor room, you know, that's your leads for the year right there. Right now, what's the benefit of sending your developers? Well, if you're a software company, right? There's multiple reasons. One, it benefits your company to send your developers because this is where next year's technologies are coming out. This is where you're going to hear about Einstein for the first time, or Trailhead DX for the first time, or not Trailhead DX, but Salesforce DX. You know, these are
that stuff was so cool. Like when you actually got to hear about it while you were there, and it was like nobody else knew about it.
Yeah, before I mean, we all knew Lightning was rolling out a year before it rolled out, but you hear about it, you go to these sessions and all these kinds of things for the first time at Dreamforce, it gives you the upper hand. Now, as a company, if you're a vendor, this is where you're going to get your leads for the year. Plain and simple, like I said. Now, the other thing about development is that as an individual developer, this is where you're going to go and meet a whole bunch of companies that, you know, you're going to hang out with some of their employees. You're going to decide, you know, I might want to go work for that company in a couple of years when they have a recruiter or somebody like that reach out to me. You know what I mean? Or it's where you do get the into a company that you've always wanted to work for. Let's just say you always wanted to work for Google. You have no idea how to apply. It always seems like a crazy process, but you know they have a Salesforce department and you want to be a Salesforce developer for Google, right? This is where you go and meet people who do work there that Google are sending to the same conference, and you get to know them, right?
That's pretty awesome. You're gonna meet some like really cool friends too. Mm-hmm. Like you make it also job oriented. Like let's look at the whole life idea. Like it's like job focus. Tell you're a grown up.
No, but right. But I mean, like if your company's sending you, that's where you've got to like. Well, yes. I mean, there's no denying that. The guests, the musical guests.
Oh, you're talking that band thing. You know, all the Dreamforces I ever got to, I skipped that band thing. Like, with the parties that, like, the partners are putting on, where you're going to go, and all these people that you met throughout the day, that you get to go and, like, meet, and all the people you know from Twitter, and all the people you know from, like, Slack, LinkedIn. Like, you get to go, and you get to, like, jump around, go party to meet up with them, have a drink. you know, they just all the wine and beer free. It's just so cool. It's just like, oh yeah, I have a badge. Scan my badge. Oh my gosh, I love you too. Let's have hugs. Let's exchange business cards. Now we're best friends. Have a sticker. Oh my gosh, I love stickers. Next party. It's so awesome. Oh my gosh, it's like the best experience. We all have to go to Dreamforce now.
I know, but you got to like convince your company, right? So you got your new technologies. You mentioned earlier. Yeah. You mentioned earlier, like
about recruiting.
Well, right, but you also
company wants to know about your recruiting. I'm talking about the fun part.
No, I know, but I can't help it. Like you also, like I was saying, that you earlier you mentioned you mentioned via negotiations, right? So like when you are getting recruited, when a company is asking you for part of your salary, you know, they may not be able to pay you exactly what you're looking for, but a lot of times, you know, you might be able to say, hey, I'd be more interested in this if I knew I was going to Dreamforce, or if I knew I was going to go to a convention or two in the area, company sponsored, set me up at the hotel, you know, food expense and all of that kind of stuff. You're going to find plenty of companies, I bet, who are willing to give you that benefit.
Yeah. Or if, and it's also, well, however, it depends on your role too. I mean, if you're going into one of those like development solution engineering jobs or like a solution architect job, absolutely. Like those are the people they totally want on Dreamforce too. And there's going to be like no question about it.
But I mean, even in my role as just like a developer, right? Like somebody who just, who, you know, code junkie, that's all I do all day long. It's if you negotiate it, if you show that you're passionate about it, your company is going to be more willing to want to send you than if you just kind of randomly ask and they know, you know, based on your own personality and all that kind of stuff that you're not going to probably be there to benefit the company, you're benefiting yourself. That's, you know. But if you negotiate it as part of your salary, there's a good chance that you might be able to get that through.
For sure. And I mean, and when doing that, make sure you're going to show the benefit for everybody. Like, that is one thing to keep in mind. It's not just the benefit for you. Make sure to show the benefit for everyone. What is everyone going to get out of this? You know, it's not just, you know, is there one project that's going to benefit? It's how are you going to benefit across the board? But yeah, don't forget about that one project too, because sometimes people look at the right now.
All right, so where are some good places to go and be active in the community in order to kind of like show your company, or if you really want to be able to get involved easily in the community, what are some of the good places to go for that?
There's so many. So first of all, let's not forget the first and foremost, the Trailblazer community. Right? We got a low chatter.
Yep.
Okay. There's also Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I am constantly on Twitter. System.debug's on Twitter. Brian's on Twitter. Ryan's on Twitter. IJ's on Twitter.
Tom,
Rita's on Twitter.
Rashad, Rita, Jarrett. Everybody's on Twitter. Twitter's like
we're all on Twitter.
The Salesforce like communication channel. That as well as Slack.
I think I'm on Twitter. Like, well, yeah, then there's Slack. We all love Salesforce Ohana Slack. If you don't have if you're not a member of Salesforce Ohana Slack, just let me know and I'll get you that sign up link. Hit me up on Twitter. And then professionally, we're all on LinkedIn. Like,
that's true.
And I bet you we should all have like that link to our Trailhead accounts on LinkedIn. Because
what's a place in person can be? You know what I mean?
Oh, really quick, I was going to mention something about Trailhead. Can I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Ladies Be Architects is doing this contest that involves Trailhead and getting a number of badges in between like the 13th. I think it's the 13th. So is that today? Maybe today. Maybe it's the 12th. I don't know. But like today-ish, tomorrow-ish, yesterday-ish, sometime like now-ish, until like someday in September. So like really quick, check their Twitter because they're much better these days and I'm not looking at it now and I should have checked this before I started rambling. Ladies Be Architects, check it out on Twitter. doing a Trailhead Badges contest. You want to follow them on Twitter. You want to join their success community group. And then you want to get the most amount of badges in between now or whenever those 2 days are. And they have a leaderboard that they're tracking this on. And whoever gets the most badges gets to win. And they're giving out swag. And everybody loves swag. Everybody loves Trailhead too. So it's like a win-win. Okay, I'm sorry. Brian, go ahead.
No, that's good. But I was going to say, you know, user groups, right? User groups is a great place to go and get connected. Are you?
I lead one of those things. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Do you?
I do here in Atlanta.
Yeah, here in Seattle.
Here in Seattle.
But I
was just going to say, if you get active in them, go for it.
Yeah.
Right? That's going to get you out there in front of like your local community. These are the people that, you know, you might be able to find a room with because you see them often enough when you do go to the bigger conventions and you're trying to save some money, right? So it's another great way to network. It's also a great way to find out jobs that are hiring in your area.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a great way to find out about which events are happening in your local community and to help get involved in those and start planning those and to volunteer for them, which is a way to go to them for free, which companies really, really like when you get to do that. So it helps you attend without costing them. Right? Oh my God, I just thought of that. Genius.
Well, all right.
Mind blown.
Watch this. You can find out more about System.Debug on our YouTube channel. Lots of other episodes. Also, follow along with RJ's 6-minute Salesforce series. He's wrapped up his Get one, and I think he's moving on from there. We'll see what he's doing next. I know Salesforce DX is going to be a thing he's covering in the near future, if he hasn't already. Also, what else is there? I'll be at Dreamforce in a couple of weeks here, right? 6-8 weeks,
I'll be at
something like that.
Dreamforce.
You know what I mean? That'll be exciting. We'll see you in 2 weeks here on this show. You can follow Megan at
Megan SF.
Megan SF, and that's at Twitter. Me at USBrian28, RJ at the infamous RJ, who's not here, and Ryan Headley.
Life with Ryan.
Yep, Life with Ryan. And you know, hey, if your company's got extra money and they want to sponsor Apex and the Limits to play somehow, we all want to see Apex and the Limits play at Dreamforce again this year, but I don't think they have a sponsor yet. So, you know, just throwing it out there, right? Remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you very much for joining us. Megan, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye, guys.
Bye, everybody.